I quit my job, I followed my dreams, and I literally lost everything. I want to talk about how I worked at a really cool company when I was younger. It was called Airbnb. It's a tech company. You probably heard of it. In San Francisco. And I'm going to use this backdrop right here. I'm going to move around a little bit. I'm not just going to stay in one spot. It's really beautiful outside today, and I want to be able to enjoy the sun. This is the back of my office, by the way. My office is right here to the right. There's a really cool gym right here. I actually don't go to that gym though. But I want to talk about why I left Airbnb. I have a degree in environmental economics and policy, and somehow I got into the accounting department over at Airbnb. It was specifically an accounts receivables analyst role. I'm going to play around with the lighting. Let's see. Yeah, that's okay. That's better. But I was an accounts receivables analyst. And then I also did somewhat of a customer service role there where I would talk with the guests that would rent out the houses from the hosts. And first, before I was at Airbnb, I went to UC Berkeley. I first started out in community college in Roseville, California, and I was at community college actually for 3 years. I didn't stay for 2 years. Normally you go to community college for 2 years. I stayed for 3 years, and the reason why I stayed for 3 years was because at the end of my second year, I decided I was going to change my major. And I'm not going to make this video all about me, because I know that's not what you care about. People come to YouTube to be entertained. They come to YouTube to hear cool stories and everything. Something about you. What is this? What is in this for you? Well, I'm going to try to share my story and shed light on things that I messed up on that could help you and give you a little bit of insight as to how wild this life can be, especially if you're a younger person, but even if you're a little bit older, if you're 30, because I'm 31 right now. I hear some music. I'm going to go check out the music real fast. Where is that music coming from? Sorry, I have to investigate. I think it's coming from this person's house. Over here. Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to where I was at. So, actually, I'm going to go over here. So, yes, either way, the reason why I'm making this video is because I think it's an interesting story, and I really want to talk about making the decision to leave a job that you have that is arguably a good job, a job that most people wouldn't want to give up because of economic uncertainty, the fear of not being able to make money and survive and everything. Obviously, I was a lot younger, so it's not as risky, and I like this spot right here because there's sun. And hold on, wait 1 second. All right, I'm not exactly sure where I left off, but I'm going to start the story again here. What's in this for you is I'm just going to talk about how I did some crazy shit. So the whole point is that I quit my job, I followed my dreams, and I literally lost everything. I lost all of my stuff for the most part. Well, I didn't really lose it, but I lost all my money, and then I gave away all my stuff. I just donated all of the clothes that I had, really, really nice clothes. I donated it all to Goodwill, and I was like, you know what, screw this shit. I'm just gonna get in my car. I had like a backpack worth of stuff, and then I got in my car with this girl that I met in Los Angeles, and we just fucked off and just stayed in Airbnbs and hotels and everything. And then we got these backpacks and all of this hiking gear from Patagonia, and we were just like, you know what, screw it. We're gonna go on the Pacific Crest Trail. It's like this long trail all the way from Washington down the west coast to California, and yeah, and so I think it goes through Mexico. I'm not sure, I forget, but either way, that's what our plan was. But there's a whole bunch before that, before I decided to get up to giving away all my shit and then going on a huge long hike, essentially a death hike for the most part. But either way, I'm going to start off with how I was at community college. I think I already said that, but I was at community college. I decided I was going to go to UC Berkeley. And so I was studying political science, and then I thought to myself, you know what, political science sucks. I don't want to study this because the professors, they all seem really biased. And I had a bad experience with one professor. I wrote an essay. It was about, I forget what it was about, but you had to pick a side. You had to argue for the Democratic side or the Republican side. And at the time, I grew up in California, so I was full through and through liberal. And I'm not saying that I'm full through and through conservative right now. I'm just not down with all the stuff that's going on with the left. And shit's getting wild right now with politics. And if you've been paying attention to the world, you know this shit is getting crazy. So either way, I just decided at the time I was full on indoctrinated, left liberal person, and I agreed with the Democrats all at that time, you know. I was pro-Obama and stuff. And for the heck of it, for fun, I said, you know what, I'm going to argue the conservative side, the conservative Republican side. It sounded like fun. It was a cool challenge. So I wrote a phenomenal essay arguing the points of the conservative Republicans. And it was awesome. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm like, okay, I didn't agree with it, but it did help me kind of see their side on a lot of things. But I had a lot of fun writing the essay. And then I turned in the essay, and the professor was like, this is not true. This is wrong. And like that was like the majority of the grade, I could tell, was simply because she didn't agree with what I wrote. And I was like, I don't agree with that either. But that's not your job. Your job is to grade my essay on whether or not it's a good essay, whether or not it's a cogent, clear essay that does a good job of explaining the ideas in a coherent way. And I definitely did that, but she still gave me a bad grade. So I'm just like, you know what? I'm not doing this political stuff. I don't want to mess with these professors. If this is what this field is like, then I don't want to do it. I'd rather get a major in a field where, like math, where the answer is the right answer and nobody can say otherwise. Like I can't get the right answer and the person decide that they don't like that answer. So I started going more towards statistics and economics and everything. And there was a program at UC Berkeley called Environmental Economics and Policy. And so it was literally the intersection of my phone's getting hot, so I gotta get out of the sun. But it was the intersection of economics and environmental science, because after political science, I kind of got into environmental science. I was the president of the environmental club at the community college that I went to. So either way, I'm at community college for 3 years. It's the end of the third year. I transferred to UC Berkeley. I go to UC Berkeley and I start studying. You know, that's what you do there. And I'm staying in the dorms and everything. And I am a foster youth. I'm an ex-foster youth. My mom was addicted to drugs. My father passed away when I was younger. So I was in the foster care system. And when I went to UC Berkeley and I transferred there, everybody had their parents and everything. And it was just such a weird environment for me because I'm just like not used to that environment. And I'm not a normal kid. I don't come from a normal family. So there's all these kids, young kids with their mom and dad helping them move into the dorms and everything. And even the transfer students have their parents with them. And so it's just like, okay, whatever. You know, here I am. And shit's really uncomfortable. Don't feel like I belong there and all that stuff. But either way, I'm there. I go through the programs and shit. I finish my courses. I take a lot of upper division math courses, took a computer science course, a couple other courses that took machine learning and everything. And so nonetheless, I go through UC Berkeley. I end up graduating, obviously. Maybe I didn't graduate, you know, like, so it's not so obvious. Some people don't graduate college. But this was like before, I think this was just at like the advent of people on YouTube teaching business and stuff. Like I was completely unaware of all these things that were going on with YouTube. I remember when I was playing in bands when I was in high school, I remember YouTube coming out and it was just like this cool platform that like you can make videos with, like you can post your videos on and stuff, and then you can share it to your Facebook. Facebook was the place. And so I didn't really pay attention to YouTube. And I guess all that time, that's where the business stuff is going on. And then people are like, hey, you don't have to go to college. College is a waste of time. I just never thought about that. And so right now, if you're a young person and you're on YouTube, God, you're so freaking lucky because there's so many people on YouTube showing you that there's another way to be successful, that there's another way to go about your life, that you don't have to just follow what people at school tell you and your parents and these institutions. You don't have to go to college. And I wish somebody would have told me that, because growing up really poor and in the foster care system, the idea of being able to go to college, especially a good university like UC Berkeley, was a dream come true. But sure enough, I wasted a lot of time. So either way, I graduate UC Berkeley. I go back to Roseville, California, where I live, and I'm hanging out there for like a few months after graduation. And then I end up getting a job at Airbnb. I got a job as an accounts receivables analyst, or an account receivables analyst, and I was there working, doing like accounting type stuff. And my team, the boss that I had, his name was Eric. He was really cool. It was a really cool environment. I loved the team that I was on. I didn't like Airbnb as a whole. It felt like it was like high school 2.0. And I don't know, it was really exciting for the very first few months. I'm just like, wow, this is so cool. I'm at 888 Brandon Street in San Francisco, and at this time I was still living in Roseville. So I commuted for like the first week from Sacramento, Roseville to San Francisco. It was a horrible commute, but I did it. And then I ended up moving to San Francisco. I moved in with a friend from college. We lived in this house in Old Oakland over by the Oakland Zoo. It was a really nice house. We had a friend who, her husband's brother, he had a house there, and then he had a spare room. And so he let me and my buddy rent out the room. It was a really nice house next to a pretty ghetto area, but it was still a really nice house. And so I'm living over there in the Bay Area, working at Airbnb, hanging out with my team, really cool team. I love everybody there. I got along with everybody, but things just didn't feel right. It was so boring, and it was really hard for me to merge to work on something that was actually like worth it. So if you've seen the My First Million podcast, if you ever seen one of these business success or success podcasts or YouTube videos where they tell you what to do, they say, if you're a young person, you should go work on and I'm not mocking them, like that. I agree with their opinions. So Sean, I think his name is Sean Purry or something, the dude from My First Million, he said that he would go work for a company and find the A+ problem. And I didn't have any guidance. I didn't have the YouTube videos to tell me to do something like that. So it never occurred to me to go try to find the A+ problem. I was always so stuck and busy on the day-to-day work that I had, and the boss was like, you need to do this and stuff. And so it's like, okay, I'm doing this. There's no time to go figure out the A+ problem. So I never ended up doing that. So I'm hanging out one day, just working, typing away on my computer, and this is when Airbnb they acquired a new building for their financial department. So the entire finance team is moving from the main headquarters at 888 Brandon Street, and they go a little bit down the street to this other building, and that's the finance building. And so we move there, and we get these really cool desks, and it's awesome. You can't complain. There's compared to all these other people that are working at McDonald's and stuff, and just working some of these really cruddy 9-to-5 jobs. Who am I to complain? I'm working at a cool tech company in San Francisco. I have a really nice desk. I'm working on a MacBook and everything. There's free food, and it's a good lifestyle, How can I complain? But nonetheless, I still complain. I still didn't like it. Every day I'm there, I'm just like, I don't want to be here. Because I'm a musician, I'm a creative. I love making music, and I always dreamed of being a successful musician. And that's another story, because I almost had that with the band that I was in before I went to UC Berkeley. I just decided that I got accepted into UC Berkeley. I need to go to this school. I don't want to throw away this opportunity for this band. But that's a whole different story. So I am at Airbnb, and I'm sitting there working, and I'm listening to YouTube, listening to this playlist, and then I hear this song by this kid named Juice WRLD. And it's the song, I see your shadows in my room, don't feel the love that I get you, or something like that, the Lucid Dreams song. And I'm going to be honest, okay, sure, Juice WRLD is talented. I'm not trying to hate on the dude, and he's passed away, he's no longer with us. Really sad about that. That's a shame. I feel really bad. I feel like he was a really good kid. And I wish there were better people around him instead of his girlfriend and the people that let him do what he did. But either way, at the time, he was alive, and I was thinking to myself, all right, this kind of sucks. I can make better music than this. So I'm just like, you gotta follow your dreams. And I'm just like, you only live once. You got this lifetime once. I'm young. I gotta follow my dreams. And so then I tell my boss, like, hey, this is it. I'm done. And then, but before I leave Airbnb, I know that the way you leave a company is very important to, for your reputation, and you need to leave on a good note so that people you have people that refer you down the road and stuff. And so what I decided was that, the job that I was working, there was a lot of boring tasks. It took a lot of time doing, there were a lot of little things that were repetitive. And so I decided, screw it. I'm going to code up a little program that will automate all these repetitive tasks. And nobody knew I was building that. I was building this on my lunchtime. And so I built this program with VBA in Excel. It's the code that is used at the back end of Excel to automate stuff and everything. And so I built it for myself, really, to save myself time. And I did that, and I showed my boss, not like the boss above my boss, but my immediate supervisor. I showed him, and he was like, "Oh, this is really cool. You should present this to the team, to the big guys and everything." I'm like, "Okay, if you think." So I presented to them, and I suggest we rebuild the entire software with Python, and then create an actual web app. So at Airbnb and like big companies, you have your own server for the entire company. So it's like you have your own, it's like your own subsection of the internet for your own company and stuff. So we thought that we'd put a website on our servers for our team that was essentially that tool. So I worked with a coworker who was starting to learn a lot of front-end programming, and I convinced the finance team to let us build this. I did a whole presentation and everything about the tool, and then they were like, "Yeah, we love this. Do it." And so they said, "Make it." And so I was like, "Okay, we made it." So me and my coworker Jake, we started working on it together, and so initially I made the program in Python. So I made it in VBA first, and then I made it in Python for myself for the presentation. And then after the project got approved, then I recoded it in JavaScript, and then the front end was like HTML, CSS, and all that good stuff. So me and Jake, we did it together, and I ended up telling my boss I'm going to leave. And so I said, but before I leave, I'm going to finish this project. I'll finish this tool so that when I leave, you guys have this really awesome tool that helps the team save time, increase productivity, and everything, So I end up finishing the tool, and then I'm at like my last week. And then one of the head bosses in the finance department at Airbnb is like, "Hey, we really don't want you to leave. We feel like you're really putting in a lot of effort, and you're doing a really good job for this team. And we'd be willing to let you work remotely." And this is before working remote was a big thing. So they said you could work remotely, go back to your home in Sacramento, and just work from there and stuff. And I was just like, I really appreciate the offer. I do. I love working here. I love working with the team and everything. But there's something that I really have to focus on right now. There's something I really want to give a shot, and it was my music. I didn't tell them that I wanted to do music, but I essentially said there's something that I really need to focus on in this period of my life. So I ended up leaving San Francisco, quit Airbnb, and then I moved to my friend's house in Roseville. He has a spare bedroom, and then he said, it was essentially my foster mom. So he was the drummer of my old band, and his mom let me live with them for a while. And so they let me go live with them back. They're like, "Yes, come back, start doing music again, we'll let you stay here, and then you could, you turn the bedroom into a studio." And so I'm like, "Okay, heck yeah." So I'm super stoked. Go back to Roseville, my first day back in Roseville. It was my last day at Airbnb. I finished the project. I leave early, and then I'm driving from San Francisco back to Roseville, and I'm tired, and I get to Roseville. I'm so happy to see all my friends and all the people from the past and everything. And so we're just hanging out. I had a kombucha, and then I take a nap. I go to sleep, and then I wake up the next day. I'm like, "Okay, it's game time. It's game time. I got this time right now. I need to make it in music." I go, I buy a $3,000 Mac that's fully loaded for music. It has Logic Pro, it has Final Cut Pro, and it's just fully loaded. I upgraded to the highest RAM and highest storage and all that stuff, and so it was an iMac. And then I got a really expensive interface. It wasn't the Apollo, it was the Apogee Element Apogee 23 or something like that. But I ended up just splurging a huge chunk of savings that I had to get the best music gear. And so it starts. Every day I'm in my room. I'm getting back to the way it used to be when I was younger, writing songs and being able to make music. It was a bit of a learning curve again, because I had forgotten what it was like to be in the studio writing songs and doing that stuff. And so either way, this is the portion of the story where I quit my dream, or I quit my job to follow my dreams. So I'm following my dreams, and then I'm making music and stuff. The music isn't coming out so good. I'm having a tough time. One of the things that was most hardest for me was mixing and mastering the music. Every time I would record a song and make music and everything, I would mix it, and then it would just sound like trash. I would go in and out of the house, back to the car to listen to the mix that I just made, and every time I'd go to the car, it would just sound horrible. I'm going to move a little bit right now. And so it was just demoralizing. I'm like, man, this is so disheartening. The music doesn't sound good at all. I'm like, how am I ever going to make it? And I didn't know a lot about business, and I didn't know a lot about marketing. Because the most important part about business and marketing is selling the product first, and then iterating and improving on the product. And when you're selling music, you're not really selling good sounding, good quality music. You're selling a story. You're selling music that people can vibe with, people can relate with. You don't have to really hyperfixate on the quality. You don't need to make radio quality music, at least sonically, when it comes to mixing and mastering. You just need to make good, catchy, vibey music that people want to be a part of, that people want to consume, and then have a story behind it. So I didn't know this stuff, and I wasn't good at it. Or at least I didn't do that. And years go by, I'm making music, and then I start trying to promote the music on social media, and I ended up just burning myself out so much with recording the music, writing the music, mixing and mastering the music, that it was like I just totally forgot about the marketing. I just put that on the back burner, and I spent years trying to get, quote, good at music, because I always believed this thing, which is a lie. I always believed the whole, if you're good and you're the best and you're better than everybody, then you'll be successful. So I fell into that trap of like, okay, so all I have to do is be the one that sits here and work the hardest. And for some reason, I thought working the hardest was working on the product, the music. And so I just spent so much time with, I was doing vocal exercises, I was taking courses and everything, and I was just trying to be the best that I can at music. What happened was I had music that I thought was good, and I would even share the music with my friends and other people who weren't my friends. And so at this time, I did start driving Uber, because I needed to supplement the money, the savings that I had. I needed to, I needed to make a little bit of money. I also did some freelancing on Upwork. But either way, I am working on the music, and I'm sharing the music with people. Like when I was driving Uber, I would share the music with people, with the passengers, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is really good." One family was like, "Oh hey, let me get your autograph and stuff. You're going to be famous and everything and stuff." And it was flattering, and I didn't disagree with them. I worked really hard to learn songwriting and to write good songs and to just make good music. And I finally mastered mixing and mastering. I became phenomenal at it. I was able to make mixes that were radio level quality. And so I agreed with them when they're like, "This is good." I'm like, "Yes, you're right, it is good." And so I'm just thinking, I'm like, "Okay, this is good. I just need to share this on Instagram and YouTube and everything." I share the music on YouTube, Instagram and stuff, and it's like 5 likes, 5 listens and stuff. It's like, what's going on? Nobody's listening to music. Like, it must not be that good, because what the hell? And so it just didn't work out. I decide, all right, I have to do something. This isn't working out. I need more money. I need more time to figure out how to crack the code. And I end up getting a job again as a data analyst 2 for a credit union in Sacramento called Golden One Credit Union. And also what else? What the other thing that happened at the time was there was a girl, and girls, partners, people. If you're a woman, if you're gonna have dudes come into your life, but I'm guessing the majority of people watching this are gonna be dudes, and so girls, you start thinking with the wrong head, and then you get a girl in your life, and then everything changes. Your time, it just ruins everything. I was really dumb. Now I'm working at the Golden One Credit Union in Sacramento, California, and I get in there. It's only a contract job. I'm not actually working for Golden One Credit Union. I'm filling in for a data analyst that they had who was on leave. His wife was pregnant and they were having the child. So I step in and I am essentially fulfilling his role, working with the VP of the member services department, doing all the boring data analytics stuff that you're probably not interested in. And I'm there doing the work, on my break, I'm still doing music. I would wake up at like 4 a.m. and I would work on music from like 4 to about 7. And then around 7:30, I think I would start heading into work. I think I started work around like 8 or 8:30 or whatever. And then after work, first thing I would do was head straight to the gym, go to the gym, get a workout in, and then start doing a little bit more music and everything. And I had this whole grind mindset where it was like, I think I was only getting 6 hours of sleep at the time. I'm just like, I gotta grind, I gotta work really hard and everything. And I just really didn't know what to work on. And this period of my life where I am doing music, where I was doing my dreams, I learned a lot about entrepreneurship. And I started to realize as time went on that this is a business. And again, it comes down to, you don't know what you don't know sometimes. And that's why people right now, it's such a blessing to have YouTube and all these people on Twitter and everything, because they're really letting you know all these things that you don't even know you don't know. I wish I had that at the time. But I didn't. But either way, I end up staying at Golden One Credit Union enough till I have a good amount of savings again, so I could quit again and then start doing my music. And while I'm there, I end up having to leave my friend's house because his parents or his dad, he was like, okay, it's time for you to leave because you've been here at the house for too long and you're starting to get older now. And yeah, so you pretty much, you need to get the heck out. So I'm like, okay, gotta go. And I don't remember where I went. I think at first I don't know, did I go to my aunt's house? I think I did. But either way, I'm working at Golden One Credit Union, and then another girl gets involved in my life. There was a girl who was sitting right next to me at the office in Golden One Credit Union, and we start talking and everything. And now I'm talking to her, we're doing our thing, and I end up moving to my aunt's house, and I go to my aunt's, and she lets me set up a studio at her house, and that was really cool. I was really fortunate. Now I'm there working at Golden One Credit Union. I think this is around like 2019. This is a little bit before COVID-19 happened. And I'm making music and all that stuff. And boom, lockdowns come on. And at this time, I was just at a low. I was in an all-time low. They send us home. They say we could work from home. And they send me home with a laptop. I'm at my aunt's house right now. So now I'm at my aunt's house. It was just me and my aunt. We are locked in the house together. She's working from home. I'm working from home. And I just couldn't work. I just couldn't focus. Every time I'd sit down at the desk and I'd go on the computer to do the work for the company, I didn't want to do anything. And to be honest, I was kind of scared at the time. I had no idea what the heck's going on. Nobody knew what was going on. I'm like, dude, is this legitimate? Like, is this it? Is this the thing that wipes out humanity? And should I be worried? There's young people dying and stuff. People are dying. And I'm like, okay, this actually might be it. Maybe I shouldn't be working right now. Maybe I should be spending time with my loved ones and everything. So I just stopped working. And then a week goes by, and the boss that I had is like, hey, Ramon, you haven't been online in a while. We're wondering what's going on. And I'm like, oh, yeah, sorry. I haven't been feeling good lately. And, I just needed the week off. I'll be back in a couple of days. And then a couple of days come by, and I just couldn't do it. And then I just said, I quit. And then I left. And then I'm still at my aunt's. I'm making music, and then I start coming across, and I've been aware of these motivational speakers, Tony Robbins and stuff. There's Eric Thomas, all these motivational self-help people. And one really important thing that I left out of this video was when I was at UC Berkeley, I spent a great deal of time studying spirituality, meditating, and getting to know what's inside. And at that time when I was at UC Berkeley, I had a lot of bad social anxiety, and I wasn't really connecting with people that well at that time. And I really felt like everything was messed up in this world, and I went essentially through an existential crisis. So I started studying Alan Watts, J. Krishnamurti, some of these modern philosophers, Stoicism and stuff, and I started experimenting with psychedelics. And I actually got DMT. DMT is the substance that's in ayahuasca. A lot of people go on those ayahuasca retreats, and this was before it all got popular. And I actually ended up getting DMT from my boss at Airbnb. We were at lunch one time, and I was just like, we're all sitting there having a team lunch. I'm like, oh, hey, have you guys ever heard of DMT? And everybody's like, oh, no. And my boss is like, yeah, I've been trying to get that for so long. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, I could get that. I'm like, because I was going to get some for me. I could get some for you. And he was like, for really? And I'm like, yes. So I end up hitting up this guy I have a friend in Sacramento, and then they know this guy that he does the extraction and everything, and so they give me his number, and I'm like, I reach out to him and everything, and he's like kind of weirded out. He's like, at first he's like, no, like, who the heck are you? And then I tell him, I'm friends with this person, and then he's like, okay, cool. And then I go there, pick it up, full story and everything, and I don't need to go into it, but either way, yeah, that was a pretty funny time. But so I went through like this spiritual awakening when I was at UC Berkeley at that time. And I had been exposed to all of the self-help people, those self-help motivational speakers and everything. And I remember hearing over and over again, and you probably heard this, and most people will hear this, that you got to follow your dreams. And I ended up getting into this idea where you might have heard this idea. I don't know. It's the idea essentially that if you want to be wealthy, you have to, if you want to be successful and you want to be wealthy, you have to jump off the bridge, or you have to jump off and you have to get ready to fly, just risk falling and get ready to fly, something like that. And then also, like, if you want to make money, stop trying to save money. You need to spend money, and you need to just spend money, fake it till you make it, spend money, and then you will be forced to go and pay for everything. So what I ended up doing was, this is where the story gets interesting. So it's the lockdowns are starting to lift, and I just have that idea in my head. I'm like, you know what? I got to just take a huge leap. I'm like, and this is where, in hindsight, I was really, really stupid, because the reason why I wasn't successful in music was because I simply wasn't viewing it as a business, and it was a highly egoistic endeavor. I was so hyper fixated on me and my artistry and my brand and everything about me, and it's like, I didn't think once about the listener. It was all about really me as a musician, and that just doesn't work in business. And so I had a rude awakening, hit the wall, and it's like, dude, this is a business, and everything in this world is about business. So you better treat it like a business. And the biggest thing that I didn't understand was that it's better to sell the product first before you fully bake it and before you fully develop it. You need to get money in. So you need to start making money before you spend all this time building stuff. And I completely lacked on the marketing and the sales. I didn't put any effort in that. I put all of the effort in the product, the music, and it burned me out. There wasn't enough time. I didn't have enough energy to do everything. I did the Facebook ads. I did promotions on Spotify. I did ads on Spotify. I emailed people, all these things. And it was a lot of work. And when it came to the promotional side of things, I thought that I had to make a song every day. I listened to Russ, the rapper, he said, make a song every day and release it every day, every week, or release a song every day and you'll make it. And I was trying to do that, and it was too exhausting for me. I guess I just didn't have what it took. But that's not true. Where I messed up was that I didn't market the product or the songs in a way that had a story, and I didn't make the content that was engaged. Like, I just expected that I could make music and people would want to listen to music, but that's not true. You need to be able to capture people's attention and show them why the music is even worth listening to and what it has to do with them and how it helps them and how it makes their life better. And I just never thought that way, and I didn't do it. It was really wrong, and it was really bad. So that was the problem. The problem wasn't this, which is what I thought it was. So I'm at my aunt's house, and I'm thinking, the reason why I'm not successful is because I live in Sacramento. I need to go to Los Angeles. I need to go to a big city center where there are people who are doing this. And so I start looking online for studios to rent out, and I start looking for places to live. And then I find this collective, this like co-op, where a bunch of young people are going to make it in entertainment. They're going to try to be a successful musician or a content creator. At the time, content creation wasn't really that big a deal. Like, there weren't really content creators yet, or there weren't influencers or anything, but they were going to be actors and all that stuff, trying to break into the entertainment industry. And so there was like, I don't remember what it was called, but they had like these cool houses and like studios in the houses and everything. And there was like bunk beds and kids from all over the world and the country that were coming. They had their guitars, they had their acting, and everybody's just collaborating. They all look happy, they all look like they're having fun. And I'm just like, that's what I got to do. I got to go around all those people, and I got to start doing that. And then, so I had my mindset. I'm like, I'm going to Los Angeles, and I'm looking for a place to stay. I go to Los Angeles. I'm kind of just hanging out, I drive from Sacramento to Los Angeles, a 6-hour drive. I'm hanging out in Los Angeles. I'm like, okay, I just got to get to know the city a little bit, go look for apartments and all that stuff. And as I'm in Los Angeles, I'm like, man, this place is crap. Like, it's so dirty. And although I grew up really poor, I was fortunate to grow up poor in a nicer area. And then I was also fortunate to have friends that were doing way better than my mom was. So I was always at nice houses. And then when I was living with my friend who let me stay with him when I left Airbnb to do music, we were in a really nice suburban area. He had a really nice house. Really nice. Didn't have to deal with dirty crap and everything. And going to Los Angeles, it's just dirty. And I was like, there's no way that I'm going to live in the city down here. I was being really selfish and really greedy and kind of prissy. And so I'm like, I'm gonna live up in the hills. I'm gonna find somebody who's renting out a bedroom in the hills. I don't care how much it costs. And I was also falling under that spell of, you need to spend a lot of money to make money. Stop trying to save money. Just spend money so that you are tricked into making more money. So I figured, I'll just do that. Really dumb in hindsight. So I find this Craigslist ad, and it's this guy saying he's offering to rent out a studio and a room next to the studio in a mansion in the Hollywood Hills. And I'm like, that's really expensive. I can't afford that. But, I'll just check it out anyways, because I'm already down here and I'm checking out all these other places, and I got to just make sure that I'm, on the ball, checking out places and trying to move in somewhere. So I just scheduled the appointment, because what the heck. I scheduled the appointment. I go up, drive up to the address. I meet the dude. His name is Francisco, and we hit it off. Like, he really liked me. I really liked him. It was a really nice house. And when I get there, it turns out the house was Bill Withers' house. This dude, Francisco, bought Bill Withers' house after he passed, and the studio was Bill Withers' studio. And I'm in there and I'm looking at it, and he's like, yeah, this is Bill Withers' studio. He's like, you should see what it looks like on the documentary and everything. It's really cool. And there's like a big sign that says, well, it's not a big sign, but it's a sign on the door that says Bill Productions. I'm like, okay, that's pretty freaking cool. And I just think to myself, I'm probably not going to live here, because it's like $15,000 a month. I had the money, and I had a decent amount of savings, but a burn rate of $15,000 a month is insane. So I'm just like, probably not going to do it. But then I fall under that spell. I go back to Sacramento, and then Francisco hits me up. He's like, hey, so do you want to move in? Or before he asked me to move in, we had to do like these like meetings with all the other houses, all the other housemates and everything. And then he just wanted to make sure that I was a good fit. And he was essentially vetting the people that were going to move in. And they all decided that they wanted to have me move into the house. So I'm sitting there at my aunt's house in Sacramento, and I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, he wants me to move in. I have to put $15,000 down payment, and then I have to pay $15,000 for the first month's rent. So that's $30,000. And oh wait, no, my bad. It's not $15,000. I think it was $5,000. 5, 10, 50. Yeah, it was $5,000. Wow, that's a big difference. Yeah, it was $5,000 a month. And so he wants me to put $5,000 down and $5,000 for the first month's rent. So $10,000 up front. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't want to do it. Like, that's way too expensive. But then I'm hearing these motivational videos and I'm like, you know what? This is it. This is my chance. I just got to put myself in the fire, take the room and go live there. And then I'll just figure out how to make money. I'm going to get famous in a month. I'm going to be successful and famous in music in a month just because I go to Los Angeles and it's going to happen right there. So I'm going to be able to afford everything. So I just do it. I send him the $10,000 and we're on. And then the month comes. I don't remember what month it was. I forget. I don't know if it was like July or August. I can't remember. But I think it was August. I moved down, very first day of August. I get to the studio. And I'm there, and it's a really nice place. It's phenomenal. It's a freaking mansion up in the hills, and it's Bill Withers' studio. It felt like a dream at the time. I'm just like, dude, this is awesome. I'm in one of the nicest studios that I could ever be in to make music. I'm in a nice house, and I'm in Los Angeles. All of the opportunity is here. I get there, and I sit down in the studio and I just kind of close my eyes and I start meditating. And I start saying to myself, I'm here. I'm in a really nice environment, in one of the nicest studios, and this is where I'm always going to be. And we had the idea of having a 3-month trial. I was only going to stay there for 3 months. And then after the 3-month period, we would determine whether or not I would continue to stay. I told myself that I have 3 months to start making decent money with my music, or else when the 3 months are up, I'm just going to head back. And the first 2 months, I'm going ham. I'm making music. I'm making content. TikTok is big at this time, so I start making content on TikTok. And I'm like, dude, I can make videos showing people that I live here in the Hollywood Hills. Like, I'm making music here in the Hollywood Hills. Check this out. Yo, I'm a musician in the Hollywood Hills. This is my studio. Check out my music and everything, thinking that would be enough to get people's attention. Really stupid. It wasn't. It didn't work. And I didn't have any friends in Los Angeles. I tried going to networking events. I tried meeting other musicians. There was a lot of drugs, a lot of people that were high, a lot of shallow fakeness, and I just was uncomfortable around a lot of the people. I'm like, dude, I don't want to do. I wasn't doing drugs. I wasn't drinking. I wanted to make music and be successful. I didn't want to get high, so I didn't want to be around all these people. I just felt like I couldn't connect with anybody, and I ended up meeting a girl. The other girl back in Sacramento, I called it off with her. I'm like, I got to go to Los Angeles to follow my dreams. You can't come with me. So that's over. I meet a girl in Los Angeles, and she ends up being a really sweet girl. And that's really the only thing that's the biggest thing that came out of that experience of moving to Los Angeles, was meeting this girl. What ended up happening was that the 3rd month comes around. I'm not making any money with the music. And I think to myself, this is it. This is over. Like, I was stupid. I shouldn't have come here and spend $15,000 in rent and then waste my time. And I end up telling the girl that I met in Los Angeles that I'm going to go back to Sacramento. I'm leaving Los Angeles. And yeah, and so I go back to Sacramento. I stay with my aunt again for a little bit, and then I move out of my aunt's house into an Airbnb, and I'm thinking to myself, like, this music stuff's not going to work. I got to start making some money. And for some reason, I never thought about making money. I just kind of always felt like I was always going to be okay, that I didn't really need to worry about making a lot of money. But I should have been worrying about that. I should have been thinking about that. but I was way too focused on my dreams. And this is the problem. And this is partially why I wanted to make this video, because when people tell you to follow your dreams, that I feel like that's bad advice. They should tell you, follow your dreams and make some money. And not make some money because you got to be greedy and you want money because you're addicted to money, but because you need to be able to fund your dreams. And maybe there are some people out there that could just go and follow their dreams and make it without having to worry about making money. But again, maybe the advice was out there. Maybe I just didn't listen to it. I was too fantastical. But either way, I'm now in my own Airbnb apartment that I rented out for like 3 months or whatever. I'm in Sacramento, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I need to make money. I'm gonna figure out how to make money. And I'm online, I'm on internet, I'm on YouTube and everything, and I'm trying to figure out ways to make money. But I'm still kind of doing music. I still have a decent amount of savings too, so I wasn't really taking that much initiative. It wasn't like I needed to make money by the end of the month or else I'm screwed. It was like I need to make money by the end of the year or whatever, something like that. And then I end up going back to the Bay Area. I go to Hayward, and now I'm living in Hayward at another Airbnb, and I'm just there, and I'm like depressed as heck. I'm staying up all night. I'm waking up really late. I start driving Uber again, and I'm just kind of like, what the hell's going on, you know? And then the girl that I met in Los Angeles, she tells me that she wants to come see me and she wants to come stay with me she said she wants to come stay with me in the Bay Area. So she ends up leaving Pasadena, where she was at, and she comes and she stays with me in the Bay Area. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, I'm a single man. I was not right now, but I was a single man, and I wanted to stay single. Not because I wanted to go out and hoeing around, because it's more like because I'm very independent. I really like my space. I really like my alone time. And up till now, women have just been really too much a headache, detracting from my goals and from my focus. And so I was really hesitant to let her come with me, but she ended up coming with me, and I'm kind of like, it's almost like I'm having like a midlife crisis, even though I'm not like middle-aged. And I just think to myself, you know, I just want to grab a backpack, grab a couple clothes, and I want to just backpack around the world. I just want to start walking. I just want to leave. I just want to go into the forest and just walk. And I don't know if you've ever felt that. I don't know if anybody else has ever felt that, but I've always felt that for a long portion of my life. I always imagine just grabbing a backpack, getting rid of everything, and just walking with no intention of getting anything or nothing, just walking and living life like that, meeting people on the road, getting the food that is offered to you at like diners and stuff, finding creative ways to do work for somebody and then get some food that way, and then just keep walking, you know, and to just seeing where the road takes me. And I told her that I wanted to do that, and she said she wanted to come with me. Then we decided to say, okay, let's do it. And then we donate all of our stuff to Goodwill. I take all of my clothes, all of my stuff. I had guitars and everything. I had an acoustic guitar, I had an electric guitar. I sold my MacBook, or I sold my, or no. So I told her, before we get rid of everything and we just decide to leave and just fuck off from the world and just start backpacking around the world, I need to finish my debut album. I want to just release my debut album. And so we're going from Airbnb to Airbnb, from hotel to hotel, and I'm just recording these songs. She's just hanging out there, doing stuff on her iPad, sitting on the bed and everything, and I'm here. I make like a makeshift studio in the hotels that we're in, and I'm recording these songs. And my idea was like, I'm not gonna make it in music, but okay, hold on, wait. My idea is I'm not gonna make it in music, but at least I could release something that shows my music and who I was. And after I do that, then I'll get rid of everything. I think it was only like a month or two, and we're traveling all up California. We're going to Chico. We're down in Los Angeles. We're down in Joshua Tree. We're all over the place. And we were down in a Long Beach. Again, like I just said, we were all over the place. And what was it? I think, we were all over the place. I'm making the music. A couple months go by. I finished the album. After I finish the album, I release it. Obviously, I release it on CD Baby. And then I sell my iMac. I donate my guitars to this nonprofit in Sacramento called Music Landria. It's a nonprofit where people can donate their instruments, and then they let kids and teenagers in the Sacramento area rent it out so that they can learn how to play music, play an instrument and everything. So I donate my guitars to them. And I give them a couple other stuff too. I think I give them some microphones and everything. But then we donate all of our clothes to Goodwill. And then we go and get brand new clothes from Patagonia, clothes that will hold us up in the harsh weathers of the Pacific Crest Trails, or Pacific Crest Trail, because we wanted to go hike that first before we just started going off and everything. And then just clothes that will hold up and be durable for the entire hike that we were going to take for who knows how long. And then we get backpacks and everything from Patagonia. We get water bottles. We get decked out with all of the best equipment that you need to go on a hike and to go backpacking and everything. And we get rid of all our clothes, sell the iMac, get rid of everything. And so now it's just our backpacks, the clothes that we have in our backpacks, our sleeping bags, the tent, and my car. At the time I had a Toyota Corolla. So we have the car. And then we're thinking about getting ready to do it. We're here in Roseville, California. We're staying at an Airbnb, and we're thinking, okay, we're going to get ready to go. And what ends up happening was something ended up happening. I just had a change of heart. And I think to myself, like, what the heck am I doing? Why am I doing this? It was really stupid. And I just think to myself, you know what? No, I'm not going to do this. We're not going to do this. I started to feel really bad for her. I start thinking, you know, I like, this girl wouldn't be throwing away all this stuff if it weren't for me. I don't want to lead somebody astray. So, and I even told her not to come with me, but she was insistent on coming with me. I guess you could say she's a ride or die. But I ended up feeling really bad. And I just think to myself, you know, I gotta step up and be a man. And if she's going to be my woman, I got to take care of her. And if we ever were to have a kid or anything, start a family, I'm going to have to be able to take care of them. So I'm just going to go super focused on making money. So I'm going to start a business. And that's what ends up happening. We end up putting everything on halt. We sell all the backpacking equipment, and then we pretty much have no clothes and everything. So we got to start buying new clothes again. And then what ends up happening was her parents, they have this house in she's from Taiwan, and her parents have this house in Taichung that's next to Taipei in Taiwan. And we tell them that we could set up an Airbnb there. So she and I, we fly out to Taiwan. I meet her parents, and we set up an Airbnb. We start running that Airbnb over there, and then we're splitting the profits between her parents and us. And then it's like a pretty big house with like multiple rooms, so a lot of people can rent out the Airbnb at once. And then we come back to the United States. We're running the Airbnb remotely. We come and we stay with my mom for a little bit, and then I'm like, okay, this now it's happening. I have to start a business, and I have to make money. And as I'm learning all this business stuff, all these business concepts and everything, I start to realize where I went wrong with the music, and I'm like, okay, that's what happened. And now here I am. I'm here back in Roseville. I have my office here. I started doing freelancing work, and then I built up an agency, and now I'm doing that. And it's crazy. We have an apartment here in Roseville. I'm not staying in Airbnbs anymore. And I got rid of the Toyota. I left the Toyota and let the dealership just take the car back. And then when I came back, I ended up getting a different car, and it was a crazy ride. But now we're here back in Roseville, and I'm running this business, and now I'm starting to build a brand here on YouTube, and I want to help others start a business. I want to help others understand how to start a business, understand the business concepts, and understand that it could actually happen relatively quickly. You're not going to become a millionaire overnight. You're not going to become a millionaire in 1 month, but you are able to start making money to cover rent relatively quickly in a couple of months, and you are able to make enough money and build a solid foundation to make a lot of money in the future. And now I'm on the other side of everything, on the other side of trying to be successful in music, and then realizing that it was a business, and then studying business principles and understanding how to run a business, understanding marketing. And then I realized, okay, that's why I messed up in music. I'm never gonna mess up like that again. But that's what this video is about, is simply you got to be careful with some of those grandiose ideas that motivational speakers and gurus disseminate to the public through YouTube. Because you can end up making some really crazy decisions. And although my life wasn't ruined or anything, I could imagine that if my life was set up a little bit differently, maybe there's somebody out there that if they would have made the same decisions I made, they would have had a really bad life, a bad outcome out of it. But I mean, it's a hell of a story, you know, going to Los Angeles, working in Bill Withers' studio, meeting a girl there, then going to Taiwan and setting up an Airbnb in Taiwan, and then traveling Airbnbs to Airbnbs and hotels, recording music, and with this woman that you met in Los Angeles and stuff. Yes, that it's a pretty cool story, and it was really exciting. You know, it was just she and I were driving from city to city, staying at hotel to hotel, Airbnb to Airbnb. And it was a cool story, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. But I do believe I would have been able to be successful quicker had I understood these business principles first. And that's what I think people need to learn. They need to learn business principles before they do anything, before you go to follow your dreams, before whatever endeavor you go down, even before you get a job. Just sit down and understand business principles. And the key business principles to understand are having something that people want, being able to get paid for it as quickly as possible rather than doing all this stuff. Focus on the things that move the needle. And the most important needle is the economic needle, the financial needle. You need to get money. You need money to live. Your life, you are worth money. Your energy, your time, the things that you do, it is worth money. People need to pay you, and you need to demand money. People will always do what they can to not give you money. Nobody else is going to get money for you. You literally have to go out to the world and demand the money that you deserve. So when you learn the skills, when you have time, when you have energy, you need to be able to say, this is worth something. My life, my time is worth something, and it's worth this much. So you're going to give me that much, and I will do this. Start off with that. And it doesn't have to be all greed and everything. Of course, you want to make sure that you're providing something of value to people. So if you're making music, the first thing that you should do when you decide that you want to go into a music career, start building an audience around music. That's it. Like, even just if I would have just started like, hey guys, I'm working a 9-to-5 job right now. Share it with social media. Hey guys, I'm working at Airbnb right now. In a week, I'm going to quit my job because I'm going to try to follow my dreams making music. And that's enough to get people interested. They're like, whoa, come on. And there's probably going to be a lot of people in the comments saying, you're stupid. You shouldn't quit your job. You should keep your job, blah, 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 all stuff like that. But nonetheless, you're garnering attention. You're building an audience. And if I would have just recorded that and focused more on building an audience through all of the steps of doing the things, then by the time I would have actually had a product, a song to release, there would have been people there to actually listen. And so that's the first thing to focus on. If you're going to start an agency, if you're going to start an e-commerce brand, whatever it is, gauge the market, see if people are even willing to pay for it. And then once you figure out, yes, they are willing to pay for it, then you could start going in and double down. But business principles, you need to understand them before you do anything. And I wish I would have understood that. And I'll never do anything ever again without that knowledge, without the knowledge that I need to gauge whether or not I can start making some sort of economic benefit from this, because the money is just a measurement of your time and your value. My name is Roman Kenrick. I'm a musician. I'm a business owner, an entrepreneur. This channel is about entrepreneurship. It's also about music, and it's also about all the cool shit that I do, and how when you're watching this, the audience, how you're a badass motherfucker and you could do cool shit too. And together, the audience that I build up around here, the community I build up around here, we're gonna do cool shit, and we're gonna bounce ideas off of each other, and I'm gonna try to make the best goddamn videos that can help you get there. That's pretty much what it is. Leave a comment what you think about this video. Maybe you have some crazy stories with girls, with making dumbass decisions like going to a different city and spending $5,000 a month in rent when you don't even have a job. Maybe you quit your job and followed your dreams. Maybe you were successful or whatever in following your dreams after you quit your job. But either way, leave a comment. I want to hear your story. Give that like button. Share this video if you thought it was interesting. And I hope to see you around. Take care.